The topic for today is, well, compact, carry, micro, however you're going to categorize them, smaller size guns, how to shoot them effectively, or just kind of my 2 cents. Not so much in carrying like specifics, but just connecting to the pistol and shoot it well. The reason being, there's less to hang on to. The gun recoils a little bit more because it's smaller, and I get a fair amount of questions about these, or at least over the last month or so, a bunch of questions worded in different ways, just about shooting smaller or more compact guns well. So that'll be the topic for today. But before I get into that, I don't get a handful of questions about this gun. I made a video about this in a guns I carry video maybe a couple months ago, something around there. Just briefly, it's a Glock 48. I like this gun quite a bit. I don't know, it's not really micro, it's kind of more compact, whatever word games you want to play. It's definitely not a full-size pistol. For setup, just in case you're curious, let's see, Dawson Precision sights, black rear, fiber optic front. It's what I ran on this gun for a while until I decided to join the Sentry and added a red dot to it. The red dot is Hollow Sun. This one is EPS Carry. Had to make sure I got the name right. I don't know if they make different colors or not, but red is the dot color on this one. The plate is, I think it's like dog tag. Calculated Kinetics, I believe is the name of the company. And let's see, what else? Streamlight, flashlight. This one is TRL7 sub. I think this is like the alpha model. I know there's a couple different models for like paddle options and stuff like that. Anyway, Streamlight, the sub. This one's designed for a Glock, because I think there's different models designed for different guns or something. Then the other part you're probably noticing it different is the trigger. All the internals are factory in this gun, but the one thing I did change, I'm kind of always a sucker for Apex trigger shoes, and this one has their, I think it's called Slimline trigger on it. So it's just the shoe, but the rest of the guts are all completely factory. If I have the preference, I like the flat triggers. And when I got this gun, it was like, I could shoot it fine with the regular trigger. It just kind of feels more, I'll call it kind of pointed, the way the trigger shoes face. It's tough to like press into the gun straight or press into the trigger straight. So I like that the Apex shoe is flat. Kind of gives you, if I can get a good angle, it's just, it feels like it's easier to press the trigger straight back. It's a more surface area. Obviously, you've seen Apex stuff on the channel before. I like their stuff. But this one's just a shoe. Other than that, the pistol is completely stock. Otherwise. And this is a gun, I like shooting it quite a bit. I shoot it fairly well. So I think of maybe over the summer, I took this thing to the range and I was doing doubles on like a 10-inch plate. Maybe 10, 12 yards. And I could just shoot pairs in the, let's say 18 splits or something. It's big bop bop, ding ding, bop bop, ding ding, that kind of thing. So with some training, I think you can shoot the gun pretty well, but these are definitely not optimized. It's not a gun I would want to shoot competitively for a full out USPSA or PCSL match. So I think the question is, how do you grip this gun well? Spoiler alert, all the principles of gripping a full-size pistol remain, and it's more or less the same. There's just some compromises you have to make due to the size of the gun. So this one's, I should have grabbed it also, a Glock 43 also, it'd be even smaller yet. But when I grab this pistol, the way my firing hand fits in the gun, it's covering up way more of the frame than I want it to. Well, here, I happen to have another gun right next to an M&P. Notice the big difference. Once I grip this one, notice how much space there is in here for my support hand. And when I grab this little devil, there is noticeably less. So the bad part is when I put my support hand on the gun, there is some room for my support hand, but a lot of it is me connecting or contacting my own fingers more than like getting support area or getting contact with the frame. That's the downside of shooting small guns like this. So otherwise, everything's going to be the exact same that it is when I'm shooting a full-size gun. The grip is just compromised a bit due to, well, this gun's smaller, so it recoils more. and there's less to hang on to. So it's going to be quite tough to shoot this to the same performance as you would a full-size gun. And like I said, some compromises have to be made. The main things I'll notice, well, especially with the Apex shoe, this trigger isn't bad, but this isn't a tuned gun by any means. It's still, I don't know if this be like 4 pounds, something like that. So I like this shoe because of it feels like it's easier to roll the pressure straight back, but it's not a light trigger by any means. The gun recoils a fair bit, especially with, like hollow points or hotter ammo. So the gun's going to have a bit more snap, and there's less to hang on to. But like I said, everything's the same. So firing hand, still in the same position. Support hand, I do the same technique where I kind of just hit the bottom of the trigger guard, close, so my hands are hitting together, and I try to connect the gun as much as I can in the frame. The firing hand, really, it feels the same, more or less, as I would if I was shooting a full-size pistol. But the support hand, it's noticeably different. Like I said, less to contact as far as the frame, more hanging onto my fingers. The problem is, with this one, when I want to shoot it fast, it feels like it's a struggle to keep my support hand connected to the gun. So when I shoot, I'll feel like my support hand's sliding down on the gun more. I'm exaggerating, but it'll feel like it's sliding forward. Or, as my support hand doesn't do as much work, I'll feel my firing hand take over and clamp down harder because of the work my support hand's not doing. Because I'm not, like the way your brain's wired, you're not just going to let the gun fall on the ground. You will clamp down and hang on to it. And I try to wire myself to have my support hand do the fair share, more than its fair share of work, connecting with the pistol and kind of holding it in place. But hands get sweaty, especially if I shoot this gun without chalk. It's just easier to have my support hand slip down, not connect to the pistol. And when it feels like it's slipping, my firing hand's going to take over. So when I shoot this gun, I feel like there's a lot more focus placed on my firing hand, trying my best to just press the trigger without shoving into the gun or clamping or doing any of those kind of things. But otherwise, there's really not, there's not a fundamental difference between shooting this gun and shooting this gun. So obviously, I should have grabbed it. I've got a Walther, a Walther Compact. That's a little bit bigger than this. That's not as big of a struggle. It's a 4-inch gun. The Glock 43, the next size down from this, that's a lot less to hang on to. So with that one, I feel like, even more so, exaggerating, I'm like grabbing onto my fingers even more and less with the frame. But it's the same thing. I try my best to connect to the frame with as much as I can, relax my firing hand as much as I can, and then try to make sure when I'm pressing the trigger, I'm not influencing or steering or pushing down on the gun with my firing hand by doing too much work. The other part that gets addressed, or I think a lot of people talk about, is finding the sight. So, didn't even plan this. They're both Hollow Sun stuff. If you look at the difference between EPS carry and 507 comp, or Defender XL, whatever you like, just a carry dot compared to a full-size dot, there is a huge difference. Enough that, I don't know, if you cut the glass up or if you made it work, you probably fit 2 of these carries inside of one full-size optic. So, now there's another share of issues with this gun. Not only is it tough to hang on to, most of them have smaller windows, so finding the sight is an issue also. Which, I've heard it said in multiple places. I think shooting a carry gun or a small gun or a micro gun is more of an expert's gun than something for a novice. For a novice or someone just getting started, I like the full-size pistols. Instead, my wife, before we'd ever met, she was interested in getting a handgun. I'll share a little behind the scenes. When I met my wife, we started dating. She already had a carry permit, already owned a handgun, that kind of stuff. So she was already cool with guns. And she has some friends that are cops. Took her out shooting, kind of show her different models. And of course, conventional wisdom, hey, it's for a woman. Got to give her a smaller gun because it's lighter. The problem with that is the lighter, smaller guns recoil a lot more. So a gun like this or a Glock 43, I think, is like better suited for somebody that trains more or requires more training than a full-size pistol that has a lot more to hang on to. It's going to recoil less. The window itself is bigger. It's easier to find the dot. This gun's easier and more forgiving to shoot in every way possible. The more compact or carry guns or micro guns, whatever verbiage you want to use, definitely require more training and more practice to be effective with them. So, getting back specifically to the red dot, the issue with this is the dot's smaller because it's, a carry gun isn't going to have a huge TV screen size sight. So a gun like this requires me to be even more trained with my index. Meaning from wherever you carry the gun, when I bring the gun up to eye level, I'm able to produce it in a way that my sight is right there for me and I'm able to see the dot. This gun having iron sights, I've heard a fair amount of people say like, well, if you find the irons, then it'll help you find the red dot. I suppose that makes sense, but I would prefer to just train and have my index at the point. I look at the spot, I just bring the sight up, and the dot's right there, and I'll be like, oh, I have to do, yep, there we are. So if I don't shoot this gun for a bit or don't train with it, since it presents, or points to the index due to the grip angle is different from my other guns, this isn't like, if I didn't shoot this gun for 6 months, I'm not going to pull it up and find the sight right away. Now from this, just messing with the gun I unloaded it, dry fired it for about 30 seconds, and then hit record on this. And now I have enough where like time after time, I can draw the pistol and the sight's right there, and it's more or less centered in the middle of the camera every time. But it takes some training to get to that point. So if you use a smaller gun or a micro gun, I'm not saying I'm an expert on such things, but the piece of advice that I'd give people is you actually have to train with this. Maybe more so even than a full-time pistol if you want to be really effective with it, or, for your job or something you're really interested in using it for, carry or defense or whatever. Because with the smaller window, it is tougher to find your index. And as a contrast, this M&P, which I'm not even saying I'm qualified to operate, it's way easier. Like that time, I had the dot all the way on the right side of the screen, but still good to go. That time, it's way in the middle. I could have it all the way up at the top. It could be all the way down at the bottom. I could be off. Like I can move it this amount. I'm moving the dot around the outside of the window, and I can still see it. I'm just kind of making it go around the outside edge, and I can still pick up the dot on the glass itself. With a smaller compact gun doing the same kind of thing, it's a lot less room for error for how much I could be off with my index or presenting the pistol and still finding it. But with some training, you get to the point where you just bring the gun right up and it's right in the middle. So that's my 2 cents on this. Just to summarize, if it's a red dot and it's a smaller gun like this, more of a micro, a carry, whatever, it's going to have a smaller glass, which means your index has to be more spot on to find the sights. As far as the frame goes itself, yes, it's smaller, less to hang on to, but the same principles that you use to shoot a full-size pistol apply, where you're trying to connect the gun, trying to minimize firing hand, pushing into the gun, that kind of stuff. You just have less to work with, so you might get to a point where you have to shoot this gun more reactively or more like tidy shooting than what you could get away with from a full-size pistol that has more to hang on to, a bigger window, maybe a lighter trigger, that kind of stuff. So hopefully that answers the questions you have about shooting like smaller micro or carry kind of guns. But if I didn't get to your question or you have a different question I didn't answer, drop it below in the comments. I do my best to read through the comments and questions. Something easy to answer, I'll just answer it in the comments. Or something like this, I get enough questions for, I'll just make a video talking about it. So appreciate you watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that nonsense if you want to. If you don't, that's okay though. I hope you have a good day.